Stream 1, stream 2.
Are you tired of that watered-down gospel? Are you looking for a straightforward message with no punches pulled? Then welcome to High Octane with your host, Cindy Flowers.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and I hope you're having a good week so far. I am as well. Things have been interesting this morning. I will go into that as we get into our show. But first, I want to do some announcements. And okay, Radio Free America schedule for High Octane and the Alabaster Box. Go to your Play Store, get the Get Me Radio app. Or if you don't want to get the Get Me Radio app, or you can also keep the Get Me Radio app and also get My Tuner and Get Me Radio app and look for Radio Free America. And that is us. And for High Octane, now all of these times are in Central Time. So I don't have to keep going over and saying this is Central, this is Central. They're all Central Time. High Octane can be heard on Tuesdays at 10 p.m., Thursdays at 9 o'clock a.m., and Saturdays at 4 o'clock p.m. That's Tuesday at 10 p.m., Thursday at 9 o'clock a.m., and Saturday at 4 o'clock p.m. And the Alabaster Box can be heard on Mondays at 9 o'clock a.m., Wednesdays at 10 o'clock p.m. That's tonight. um, you can listen to me after church if you like. And Fridays at 4 o'clock p.m. Again, that's Mondays at 9 o'clock a.m., Wednesdays at 10 o'clock p.m., and Fridays at 4 o'clock p.m. Now, as you know, that me and Pastor Ladina Boo do a show called The Black Robe Patriots. You can catch that on Tuesdays at 9 o'clock p.m., Thursdays at 10 o'clock a.m., and Saturdays at 3 o'clock p.m. Again, that's Tuesday at 9 o'clock p.m., Thursday at 10 o'clock a.m., and Saturday at 3 o'clock p.m. for the Black Robe Patriots. Okay, well, now that we got through that, oh, let me say this one more time. You can get this Get Me Radio app or the My Tuner app. You can have both if you want, or one or the other. It makes no difference. It's just a blessing. We went from being on one app to now we're on two apps, and who knows how the Lord is going to grow us even more. And you want to look for Radio Free America, and that is us. And so that should be able to hook you up. Again, Get Me Radio app and My Tuner app. Okay, now we can begin. Um, uh, I'm trying to step away from something right now, but it will, that I had to deal with this morning in some comments. And I'm trying not to read too much into it, and just look at it for what it is. Okay, the Judas goat. Does anybody know what a Judas goat is? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Okay, I will tell you what a Judas goat is. Okay, It's a real thing as well. It's not just made up, with that kind of a name. It is a real thing. If especially people know if they raise goats or if they have goats and sheep, if they're goat and sheep farmers, shepherds, they know about this. They take these goats that are specially trained for this. So it is their job. They're trained to do this. Okay. So they take these goats, and these goats mix with the sheep, and they get to mingle with them. And then as they get bigger, as they're trained to get bigger, what they're meant to do is they're meant to lead the sheep either to the slaughter or like on back to the trucks from someplace but if they need to be taken somewhere, or to the slaughter. What makes them the Judas goat is they lure the sheep follow, and they lure the sheep in. Say, let's say they're loading them in the back of a special truck to be taken into town for something. um the sheep can't get in there. The Judas goat will put them in there, lead them in there, and the sheep all follow, and they'll all go in, and they follow each other, and they'll go. And then guess what happens? The Judas goat books it. He jumps out of the way, so all the sheep are in there, but he's not. That Judas goat isn't. That Judas goat split, but got them in there. The Judas goat leads these sheep to the slaughter. And as they're walking in and they're going and they're following the Judas goat, and he's leading them in there and leading them in there, guess what? As soon as they start to go in and they're going in, he jumps out the way and takes off. Does that sound like anybody that you might know? Do you have a Judas goat in your life? Well, let me tell you, we kind of do. Um, we've had people, we have them, the Judas goats, we have them in our government. We have them, you can have them even as friends. I will use some examples of that, which we have seen when we talk about and look at Charles Manson. Okay. Charles Manson had all these like runaway girls and guys, and this family as he called them. I don't know, I'm going by other everything that I learned about him in the books I read. um I was uh, too too much of a baby to know what was going on. So but uh when he kept talking about uh people, celebrities, and police officers, all that kind of stuff, and to these young, impressionable teenagers, as well as they're doing the drugs and stuff, and they just looked at Manson as he was just some sort of idol god. It was it was the cult kind of thing, the very cultish way that they looked upon him, that he could do no wrong. Everything that came out of his mouth, was you had to listen, and he was right about everything, and you don't want to go against Charlie. Oh no. Well, that night that they went out and committed those murders, the Tate and LaBianca murders, if I said that correctly, um, those people did it in his family. They went out and did it. But guess what? Charlie never did. Charlie wasn't around. Charlie was at home. Charlie has an alibi. You see how that Judas goat worked? He got them all psyched up, all full of drugs. I'm not saying, now don't get it twisted here. I'm not saying that those kids were completely without fault because they knew right or wrong. They know right or wrong. They know, they knew better. They had a choice before they went in and did what they did. They had a choice to walk away. They did, but they chose not to. Okay. But the point I'm making here is Charlie just pumped him with all kinds of stuff, got him all psyched up and everything, and they took off and did it. And Charlie sat back and he didn't commit no crime. He didn't do anything. Right? His hands are clean, as they would say. But you know what? He was the mastermind behind it. He kind of did. He led them up to it. He um, got them to convince them to do it. That's why he went to prison eventually, because he got them to do it. And they all went as well. But you see how that worked out? Now I'm going to do another one. Uh, let's look at Nancy Pelosi, Judas Goat. Let's use example number one. The Obamacare and the whole, oh, it's so wonderful, it's great, and she regurgitated the same thing that Obama did at that time, saying, if you like your doctor, you could keep your doctor. And she ranted and went on and on and on and fought for it and fought for it, and she's just convincing these people. You have to get it. It's so wonderful. It's the best health care. You won't have this. You won't have that. You won't have to do this. You won't have to do that. So what happens? The whole Democrat Party is also pushing it. Every one of the Democrat Party voted for it, and not a single Republican voted for it. Okay. So it passed. So what happens? Here's the Judas goat right here. After pushing it and pushing it and pushing it and convincing people, this is good, this is great, go for it. What happens? They ask her, so what do you think of, is Congress, getting ready to switch over to this Obamacare? Oh no. Congress is exempt from having to have that. From having to have that? Wait a minute. You just said weeks ago, as you were pushing and pushing and pushing this thing, that it was the greatest health care, that it had so many benefits. But then you turn around and say, oh no, Congress is exempt. Excuse me. We don't have to have that. There's your Judas goat. She pushed and got everybody on board to do it. And many ended up trying to, get on, and they lost everything. They lost their health care. They ended up paying high fines. It was a huge mess. And she walked away not losing a thing, but she got a good margin of the American people to convince them that this was a good thing. And she walked away not losing nothing. But she did get pat on the back. Hey, well done. Well done for selling them that. Well done for making suckers out of those people. They bought it. And that's another form of a Judas goat. Do you have a Judas goat in your life? Do you have somebody who has tried to convince you to do things and then leaves you in the lurch and going, wait, I thought we were in this together. I thought that what you were saying, that you were, oh, no, you did that, I didn't. You ever have one of those in your life? Yep, I could tell you I did. Where, and you sit back and you're like, well, that's all you ever talked about. Or that's all you would ever try to do. And you kept, hounding me to convince me to go get this or this. And it turned out to be a waste of money or a waste of time and, absolute crap. And you're like, well, find out you don't have anything to do with it. Well, I didn't force you. I mean, you did it. You made the choice. And it's like, well, you kept pushing, and then they back away like, hey, I'm innocent here. I didn't do nothing. They call it the Judas goat because of the way that he betrayed, a betrayer. You have a betrayer in your life? A betrayer? You have somebody who tries to tell you false things? Now I'm going to bring this right up to date. And you're going to be able to see it because I'm talking about it because I am so what's the word I want to use? I am just so taken aback by the guests, especially last week of Pastor Ladina's booze. Pastor Ladina, not Pastor Ladina's boo. Sorry, Pastor Ladina. Pastor Ladina's guests. Um, I her guest, man, and as a matter of fact, they're going to be joining her again today. I cannot, I cannot encourage you enough to stay tuned after my show's over and stay tuned and watch her show. It is it is eye-opening. It is heartbreaking. And if you want to see the true meaning of a Judas goat, look and listen to these uh, poor, poor victims of the lies that they got told. The victims here are these, or the Judas ghosts here are these doctors, these teachers, these psychologists that are all in one. There isn't any one of them that are saying, hey, well, we need to look at this. It's like they're all reading from the same script. They're all riding on the same boat. They're Judas goats. They are lying to these people. The first lie that they're telling them when these people are coming to them, or some of them are not even coming to them. These people are coming to those people where they're saying, if you are a tomboy, that means you're actually meant to be a boy, a male. That's why you're a tomboy. And it's like, we can tell them you're absolutely out of your dang mind. We've had tomboys since, for generations upon generations. Not every woman out there is a girly girl. That's just been a fact. You have your girly girls and you have your tomboys, and then you have the in-betweeners where, it depends. If they're going to a wedding, they dress up. If they're hanging out, doing their sports, just, everyday hanging out, and they're, in jeans, flannel shirts, whatever, baseball cap, whatever. That's okay. It's okay to be a tomboy. But these doctors and these psychologists and these teachers want to put that bug in their ear. Do you know, blah, 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 blah. Whispering that stuff and starting to cause confusion and leading them, and then convincing these people that are already thinking, well, say, I have gender dysphoria. I'm so depressed, and I feel like, I don't want to live anymore because I can't deal with this. And they go, oh, you know what your problem is? What your problem is? Here comes the Judas goat. You just need to get on the drugs, the gender transitioning drugs, and start getting your gender reassignment surgeries. And then you know what? You're going to feel so much better. You're going to feel like you're in your right body, and all those thoughts are going to go away. Lie, lie, lie. What you will hear from Pastor Ladina's guest, as he said last week, and they've been saying, they're worse off after these surgeries and after these drugs than they are before. What they should have been right then and there is counseled. If they had a proper counselor, okay? Going along with that narrative is not proper counseling. They did not even address anything that was going on in this person's life to talk about it. They just immediately said, oh, do this, go here, go here. And when they turn around and say, well, how come you didn't tell me about this or this? Hey, I don't know anything about the after effects. I didn't know. I mean, you know, I just know that if you're feeling this way, I don't. No, they do. They do know. But right now, it's lead them to that. Lead them to it. The doctors convince. They start off with small children trying to cause confusion. When little kids like them, that they don't even understand, but they like who they are. They like who they are. And but that's the biggest Judas goat right now that we're seeing, and it's causing damage. Just like when they with these vaccines, when they push the vaccine. Never in my life have I seen somebody bribe people to take a vaccine. And the vaccine is now to the point they bragged about, you know, we'll give you, the free burger and fries and whatever, uh, donut places. Hey, we'll give you free large coffee and large donuts for free if you go, and for every vaccine you get, we'll give you gift cards. I've never had, was offered, I should say, my mom was never offered anything when she had to, vaccinated us when we were little. That's when get away, back away. And they had led people. They led them right in, like the Judas goat does, like the sheep to the slaughter. And look at what's happening now. And what do they say? Oh, you can't come back on us. We didn't know that was going to happen. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. But you led people in. You led people into that. Okay? That was the first topic I wanted to talk about. Now, focusing back on those that had gotten led away and were betrayed by the doctors, betrayed by, I would even say that some of them betrayed by their parents, betrayed by their teachers, betrayed by the counselors, of how that they were going to feel better and everything, and all it was for a whole different reason. Okay. I'm going to read you out of the book of Acts, and I'm going to be reading from my Bible, which is the New King James Version. And I got so much up here. Yes, I still have the small desk, you guys, so bear with me here. Okay, I'm going to start reading from in Acts 26, okay, and verse 4. And I'm reading and backing up that far so that you can get an idea of where I'm going. Okay, my manner of life, this is Saul, my manner of life from my youth, which was spent from the beginning among my own nation at Jerusalem, all the Jews know. They knew me from the first, if they were willing to testify that according to the strictest sect of our religion, I lived a Pharisee. And now I stand and am judged for the hope of the promise made by God to our fathers. To this promise, our 12 tribes, earnestly serving God night and day, hope to attain. For this hope's sake, King Agrippa, I am accused by the Jews. Why should it be thought incredible by you that God raises the dead? Indeed, I myself thought I must be doing many things contrary to the name of Jesus of Nazareth. This I also did in Jerusalem, and many of the saints I shut up in prison, having received authority from the chief priests. And when they were put to death, I cast my vote against them. And I punished them often in every synagogue and compelled them to blasphemy. And being exceedingly enraged against them, I persecuted them, even to foreign cities. While thus occupied, as I journeyed to Damascus with authority and commission from the chief priests, at midday, O king, along the road, I saw light from heaven, brighter than the sun shining around me and those who journeyed with me. And when we had all fallen to the ground, I heard a voice speaking to me and saying in the Hebrew language, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? It is hard for you to kick against the goads. And I'm going to stop right there. Okay. Now that this has happened to these people, and these people are crying out, help me, please. Where's the church? Church, where are you? Help us. Look, yes, we did it. We went along with what they said was good and that this was going to help us, and they lied. They led us down a path of lies. Look at our bodies. We're mutilated. We're in so much pain and we don't know what to do. All we want to do is half of them want to curl up and die. Church, where are you? Help us, right? Church, why are you kicking against the goads just because of their lifestyle? You have to put that aside and you have to look at this person is crying out to God, crying out to the church, going, please help me. Please help me. We have to help them. Quit kicking against the goads because it's, they're gay. We can't go near them. We can't do this. We can, it says in the Bible, Not once are we saying, oh, well, that's okay for them to be that and they can carry on their way. No. What we're looking at is these people are crying out in pain. They're hurting. Like the Good Samaritan with the person that was beaten. It didn't matter. We didn't know who that thief was, who he was. I mean, not the thief, but that he was attacked by a thief, that he was beaten so badly. We didn't know that person. The Good Samaritan did not know that person from anything. But you know what? He saw someone's in need. Someone needs help. This gentleman needs help. And you know what? He stayed with that person. He didn't see anything else, okay? And nobody's saying getting into the any of the other stuff. We're talking about we need to help them. We as a church need to stand up and come against this. If we lock arms with the gays against groomers, we're not locking with as they would put it out there. Oh my gosh, the church is now hanging out with the gays. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. They have something upon their heart. Oops, sorry about that. I thought I shut it off. They have something on their heart that and a cause worth fighting for. Excuse me for that. A cause worth fighting for, which affects all of us. It's our children that they're taking, our children. And they're exposing them to these groomers and to these horrible, harsh drugs and surgeries, convincing them. And then when it's all done and over with, they're a mess and they can never go back to the way that they were. Their bodies are so mutilated. Why can the church not stand with them arm in arm to stop this, to stop the groomers and the pedophiles in the schools and the drag queens? Why can we not stand arm in arm with them against that? Why can we not go to these people who are crying, who are in pain, going, I didn't know it was going to be this bad. They didn't tell me. How horrible. Look at me. Look at my body. Look what they've done to me. This isn't what they said was going to happen. This isn't what I was expecting. I'm a mess. And you know what? They have this where you can't come back at me. The church needs to join together and show love for these people, because you know what? If we do so, if we show the love to these people, some of these people I know are not even they're not even gay, but they were told they were because they were tomboys, or they were told that they were because maybe they weren't quarterback football players, they weren't sports guys, they were nerds, they were the smart ones in the school, or they had talent in art. And they were told, oh, anybody who's in art and fashion and stuff like that, you're gay. Yeah, you're gay. You just don't want to admit it. It's all right. But you're gay. That's a lie. That's a lie. But they were told, oh, you're in the wrong body. And trying to program them for that. Church, they're crying out for us. Stop kicking against the goads and help these people. Help these people. And then you're going to be able to minister to them and tell them, you know what? You have to repent of your lifestyle. We love you. We want to help you. We will feed you. We will clothe you. But we cannot tolerate the lifestyle. You have to repent of that. And I talked about that before. Remember when I did the poopy pants? That has to go. You gotta get rid of that diaper. It's just that's the word of God. Other things that are going on in this country, the church has got to stand up against. You cannot be afraid. You cannot kick against the goads thinking, and walking around like, well, we don't deal with that because people are gonna end up leaving. I'm telling you right now what's coming, what I am doing, because the churches won't do it. I will be, in the next few weeks, I will be teaching you viewers all about this sex trafficking. The awareness, I will be teaching you all about how you can spot it, how you can help people, what happens, and how you're able to share it with somebody else, because nobody else in it. Why? Why is the church holding this? Didn't I talk about this last in my episode of the Sound of Silence? Come on, church. We are in war. We are in a spiritual war right now. When I tell you to boot up and suit up, when I tell you to keep your lamps full, I don't say it because, hey, it's a catchy thing at the end of my show. I say it because I mean it. I'm telling you to boot up and to suit up. We are in war. And you know what? When you see that there are people that need our help, don't leave them have their six. Go help them. Help them. You could be the only light of Jesus that they have ever seen. Don't forget that. Now I'm going to go over to one more thing before I have to go. Remember when Paul Ray was here talking about how he was following what the Pharisees wanted to get rid of the Christians, right? Going into the synagogues, this. Well, it just so happens that there was someone that had come against me. for something very silly, and I'll talk about it. And maybe, you know what? Maybe we will have a conversation about it, about women in pastoring. To me, in these last days that we are in, if there is a woman who is a true woman of God, and there are people she's reaching and she's preaching the gospel and she's reaching lost people and she's out there in the highways and byways and she's talking to a group of people where other people can't reach and she's reaching and she's speaking the gospel to them, by all means, do it and leading them to Christ. Why are you? She knows if she's listening to my show. You hearing me? Are you hearing me? Quit kicking against the goads and start focusing on helping God's people, saving them, get into the battlefield. Quit being so caught up in all the rules and regulations. Because remember on the Titanic with all the rich people in first class? Guess what? Everyone was level when that boat was going to sink. Nobody's money meant a dang thing. None. Because nobody knew if they were going to survive. So guess what? There was no rich, there was no poor. There was human beings trying to do whatever they could to save other people, get them in the boats. And there were some people who knew, you know what? I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. Some rich people. Filthy, crazy rich, stupid rich. Who knew when they were looking, you know what? I'm going down with this ship. There's nothing I can do. My money is not going to save you. Walking around acting like you're a Pharisee and telling everybody with your judgmental finger, you're this, you're that, you can't do this, you can't do that. You know what? You need a Damascus Road experience. Quit kicking against the goads, right? And start looking to helping people get into those highways and byways. Stay away from these Judas goats. And I hope I opened your eyes to them as well. Be careful of them. But we hear you, people. We hear you. Church, help these people that are crying out. They need us. They need us. We're the only light that a lot of them have. They need us. Quit kicking against the goads and just help them and deal with everything else later. Just help them. I'm not asking you to become an Andy Stanley or an Amy Grant. I'm saying help these people that are in pain, and protect our children. Help to protect them. And I have reached my time for today. Thanks for sitting in on the show today. And I hope you take this on board. Please stay tuned and watch Pastor Ladina's show. It will be a life changer. Heartbreaking, but it will be a life changer. And until next time, stay booted and suited and keep your lamps full. This is High Octane. See you next week.